last outside things that I needed to do. So now I've moved through my entire list and I've adapted with my plan as you go along. When stuff changes, you just have to figure it out. And that's where working with your group of people is important, and having that rapport with them and making sure that they respect you, but also treat you as an equal, and not as your boss, but as an equal. And it does take time. It takes a couple of months of learning to work with these people. There are going to be people that you've struggled to work with. Don't work with them again. Just find someone else, because there are lots of good contractors out there that are, once they get over the fact that you actually do know what you're doing, they're fun to work with. They do run a mile when they see the temper starting to flare. They just go and be busy with just about anything other than being in the same space as you. So this is how we landed up.
Karen, I'm sorry, we have a question. I wanted to know how much the driveway cost.
That driveway cost me $4,700. It was quite a long, steep driveway, so it had to be done in sections. And the one thing that I've also, what I try and do in a lot of my jobs is I try and, for some of my subcontractors, I use quite a few local people. So for example, in this house, the guy that lived across the road was the self-appointed prefect of the street. And he would phone me every time he saw anyone drive past and let me know who was there, what they were doing, and who was who in the neighborhood. And he came and he said, well, if you're wanting to do your driveway, my friend who's around this corner, he does driveways, and maybe you should ask him. So I got he was an elderly gentleman that came in. He was the nicest man to work with, kept on bringing me his wife's home cooked pulled pork, which was really sweet. So it was nice. The guy that did a lot of my refuse removal, some of, site to take it to the dump, was also a local guy. It kind of like blends you with the community a little bit, and you, because the other thing is in working in some of these areas is you really need to be looked after by the community, and you need to look after the community as well. And so
right.
That's what I did. So the driveway was definitely an expensive item, and I did think long and hard about it. But at the end of the day, I don't know that I necessarily would have got the price I got without the driveway. It's kind of a moot point because you don't know, but it definitely changed the whole look of the house. So we started.
Karen, before you go on, we also have a new wire project which someone's going to head up. I just don't know who yet, and that's to compile a list of women in trades. And we have Denise Kunzel, who's the first one. She's a handy person.
Really?
Yeah, and she's put her website in the chat. So yay for you for inspiring that idea.
That's fantastic. Because honestly, they are. It's not that no one wants to hire them. It's literally I've never found any. So that is fantastic. So if we've got a list of women to draw on, that would be brilliant. Well done. Okay, so here we got a couple of before and afters, and you can have a look and see. So the before was, this little sad brick ranch on the hill, and I painted it, did my little blue front door. I actually made those shutters, the original plastic shutters, they were broken and falling off. So all I did was I took some 1x4s, 1x6s, and I nailed them together and painted them, and they looked awesome. So it was just a little trick in the back.
Ooh.
Before and after. So we just cleaned it up. It was this sort of time of the year when I sold it. So it was, it certainly wasn't looking green and lush and beautiful like it should have, but we made the best. We did lots of mulch and pine straw and just made it clean and neat. That's what people were looking for.
Major upgrade, yes.
Yeah. Then that was a before of the living room. We opened that one wall, and that was after. What I always do is I always stage properties. It is an expense. It's about $1,200-$1,500 to do a main bedroom, lounge, dining room, kitchen. And the stage I use is fabulous with just adapting to what I need. And it just people can't walk into a house and have vision of what to do with it. As clean and neat and nice as your house might be, if you're wanting to sell it quickly and at top dollar, staging is a must. The other thing to do is to make sure that you have good photographs taken. So my agent actually, who is John Oskundus, who was the guy that was my landlord in my first rental and lent me all of his subcontractors. He listed the house for me and held my hand through the whole process. That was the other direction. So how it looked, the dining room. We put doors going out into the outside patio. Where the dining room is now was the kitchen before, and we switched it around. Where the kitchen is now was a bedroom. Initially, it was a 4-1, and I changed that to a 3-1. And my reason for that was it was a better use of space for the size house, for us to have a bigger living area, less sleeping areas than with only one bathroom. If it had been 2 bathrooms, I would have kept it as a 4. But with only 1 bathroom, 3 worked nicely. So that was the kitchen before and after, a little bit different. And the kitchen there.
Mhm.
Main bedroom turned out really nicely. We added a closet, a big built-in closet into the main bedroom. That's what we built there.
Mm.
And then the other bedrooms, just clean and neat. I carpeted them for this house. And then the bathroom, I have absolutely no idea how you get a bath to look like that before. I really have no idea.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's not as bad as the one.
The pilot project one. I don't know. It was a close call, Adria. It was very close. It was, funnily enough, we had this bath sprayed, and one of the people that did come onto the site and look down his nose at me was the first quote I got for a bath spraying company. And he literally almost clicked his tongue at me and was like, "Sweetie, we'll sort this out for you, no problem." And
no, he didn't.
he did.
I hope you sent him on his way.
I showed him the door. I did. Yeah.
Yeah, Karen, you might want to just explain to everybody on the call that if there's no damage to the tub, but if it's just like stained, that doesn't scrub out with 42 hours of elbow grease, which we try to do first, that refinishing or resurfacing is a very cost-effective way rather than trying to remove the unit and not knowing what's underneath it.
Right. I've had both those issues. So with this tub, this was actually one of those old steel tubs, but it works just as well with one of the acrylic tubs. And I've got one now where someone obviously liked to sit and smoke in the bath. So we've got these cigarette burns along the side of the bath. And to replace the tub, it's not only the cost of the tub, it's also the cost of the plumber to install. Plus you may have rotted out subfloor underneath, or there could be any number of things. So to respray a tub, it's a few $100s versus probably whatever $1,000 if you're needing to pull the old one out and put a new one back in with the plumber, etc. So it's a very, very cost effective. There are a couple of companies that do it, and they are in and out in a day. And then you technically shouldn't use the tub, not that you're going to be using it when you're still flipping, but for a couple of days, for about 48 hours, I think. And then it's as good as new. It looks brand spanking new, the tub. And then obviously you're using new trim for your shower, for your taps and your faucets and your shower heads, etc. New tiles, and it literally looks like a brand new bath. So it's definitely not necessary to go ahead and change out a tub like that. So that was that. I chose to keep all of those old. Initially, I was going to replace all of those with the new ones, but the amount of work involved in that did not warrant it at all. So here are my numbers that I worked with. Initially, my purchase cost was $65,000, and my closing costs, which was, you've got to pay your taxes and your closing attorney, et cetera, et cetera. That was, so I was in for $6,800 there. My rehab costs, the renovations, which is your stuff, was $34,900. My mechanical, electrical, and plumbing was $9,500. My decking, landscaping, storeroom. That storeroom was actually quite a big selling feature. You know, I chose to clean it up. I put a new floor in, but just a subfloor. I never put anything special in there. It's a subfloor, and I painted it and I cleaned it out. I didn't do anything other. Spent a few $100s just cleaning it out. And it was like a blank canvas. People could use it as a man cave. They could use it as an art studio. They could use it as a kid's playroom. They could just put their storage stuff in there. And it was actually, I didn't see the value in it when I bought the property, but it was definitely very valuable. And then my driveway, that was $4,400. That was including landscaping, all my brick masonry work, the railway sleepers. Then the deck, so then the driveway was $4,700, and the site cleanup, which was my dumpsters and my local guys that came in and picked up the trash and took it to the dumpster. So everything there was $55,800. So I was in for $123,800. And so my projected numbers were, I listed the house. Initially, I thought the ARV was going to be 160, but a couple of things came on the market while I was busy flipping this house. And so we decided to list it at $174,000. So my total costs were purchase and rehab of $123,800. My selling costs, which was my agent's fees, was $8,500. So my potential profit, if I sold for list price, was going to be $41,700. And I thought that was going to be pretty nice. Anyway, so we listed it, and within 24 hours, I had 11 offers.
Nice.
It was, I think the price point was very affordable. The timing was great. There was nothing else on the market. And funnily enough, I mean, if you drive in the area, you sort of, it is quite a rundown area, but every now and again you see this nice, neat little house pop up. And the demographic for the kind of people that were wanting to move into that area surprised me. There were these young, newly graduated college kids, not college kids, they were like late 20s, just getting married, just getting started. And this is the kind of affordable place that they could move into.
Karen, where was it located? Can you give them the area?
Southeast Raleigh. So it was outside the belt line. It was just off Rock Quarry, sort of down near, I can't remember that high school.
That's Kingswood is down that direction and stuff like that.
Right.
Off of, is it Sandalwood or?
No, so sort of so further north of that. So it was literally, yeah, it was literally, if you came off the 40 Rock Quarry, it was just to the left there in that little enclave there. So there were a couple of Section 8 houses in that area. So it was a very, a lot of old people that have been living there for 40 years, and so they had done absolutely zero to the house since then. So that it was a great area to move into. Affordable.
How did which sort of lead panned out that enabled you to get that house?
At the time that I was sending my leads, I was actually using I was looking at delinquent taxes, which is, it's actually a free list that you can get off WakeGov or any of those websites. Because and I was just sifting through them manually, finding any property that sort of fit my criteria. So it was quite labor intensive, but it was a tax delinquency that I found this property off. So eventually, after my 11 offers, I sold it for $184,000. So my purchase and rehab was still at $123,800. My selling cost was slightly higher because in due diligence, I had to do a radon. I had to do a radon remediation. It was built on a slab, and in that area, apparently the there's quite a high incidence of radon. So the mitigation where they've got to drill down, and that was about $1,100, I think. So my selling costs and due diligence were $10,000. Another thing that I should mention is I used my own money for this. So I had, between IRAs and savings, and I had my own money. So I didn't have any interest costs, so any paying interest on loans. So that definitely, I didn't have to take that into account when I was doing my numbers. So selling costs were $10,000, and we came away with an actual profit of $50,200 for a couple of months' work. And learning, I learned a hell of a lot on this project, and I actually learned a lot from the men I was working with, because by the time I've built a rapport with the right men, they were very eager to help me understand the process and the project without making me feel like I was an idiot. So it was great. I had more issues with delivery guys, I would say, the guys from delivering your stuff from Home Depot or from Lowe's or from wherever, and they thought it was fine to just dump it in the yard and not put it where it was supposed to go. So you have to learn to not lose your temper, because that doesn't give you any credibility, but it's what happens sometimes, unfortunately. So that was pretty much where we finished at. Now, hang on, how do I get out of here?
I think we had some questions. Do you have time for some questions?
Sure.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to go backwards and let's see. Someone wants to know how many flips you've done.
In the US, I am busy on my 5th one, including the pilot project was one of my first. So we I started out thinking I would do a bit of wholesaling, and I'm a terrible wholesaler because I keep keeping everything I put under contract to flip for myself. So I'm busy with my fifth one. I'm doing one in Nightdale at the moment, and looking for more. And
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. And next question is, who had the vision for the yard?
I'm great with vision, but execution of a yard is not my forte. I know it looks nice. I just have no idea how to get there. My husband helped a lot. Railway sleepers was something that I've used in South Africa quite a lot because they're readily available, and I thought it would be great. My handyman thought I'd lost my mind when I told him how we needed to dig up the yard and then lay these railway sleepers that are unbelievably heavy. And then we just, so it was just, it was a process. I tend to stand and stare a lot. And when I'm standing and staring, things come to me. Yeah.
Okay. When starting, do you recommend where to go for a construction loan?
I don't know much about construction loans. I would, if I was going to be looking for one, the first place I would go would be the TRIA networking site and ask there. That would be my recommendation.
Awesome. And I think there was 2 more that came in. Is anyone else, I don't know if this is directed at you, but we're going to ask it anyway. Is anyone else having a hard time finding reliable and cost-effective GCs?
GCs?
Mm-hmm.
General contractors.
Yes.
Well, for me, I don't use GCs a lot because the size projects I'm doing don't warrant it. So it's something that I can basically manage the project myself. And as long as you've got a process, and I work with spreadsheets all the time, and the spreadsheets are reminders for you of what's coming next, what you need to budget for, what you need to have bought and got in place. So I don't really have that cost of a GC at this point.
Right. I remember your spreadsheets. They saved our honeys.
Yeah, they work how my brain works.
Someone's asking what language you include in your contracts with your subs.
What language? like legal language or like literally in English?
What sort of clauses, what do you have in there?
Oh, my purchase contract is a very, very simple one-page document that says, as far as, and Kathy can back me up on this. I think if I stand to be corrected, that your purchase contract needs to have the name of the purchaser, the name of the seller, the description of the property, and the terms of the sale. So that in order to be a legal binding contract, and then I always have an out clause, which is the inspection clause. But it's very simple, because when you're going to a lot of sellers,
sorry, they're asking about your contracts with your subcontractors.
oh,
your
well, that
trades.
okay, my subs. So that was the invaluable information that we learned, Audrey, myself, and
Yes.
a couple of us, the contracts, and so you always have to make sure that you have the right paperwork. And I do sometimes get a little bit of pushback from them where they think you're being stupid. But if you want to make sure that you've got a subcontractors agreement, there's a short version, there's a long version. The long version is for the guys that are like your plumbers, your electricals, that are subcontractor companies, and then your handymen that are kind of more labor. There's a shortened version for that. They're all anyone that you pay more than $600 per year, not per project, per year. You need to make sure that they sign a W-9 before you give them $1. Because once you've given them their money, you're not getting them to sign that W-9.
Yeah. Another question, did you make the offer contingent on inspections?
My contract always makes it contingent upon inspections. I think by the time you've seen the property, and you've seen quite a few properties, there's very little that you're going to walk away from. You can maybe some structural stuff, but then you just renegotiate the price. And but it's always in your contract that you can walk if there's something in there that you can't come to terms with.
Okay, yes. We actually had a couple of questions about contracts. Kathy, did you want to chime in on that?
Oh, I think I did the contract that they used for the pilot program.
Right.
Usually, if you'll contact your attorney, usually for the first time, they'll draft you a contract for what you need, and then you will only have to pay for that once. You can mark it up and use it time. I'm assuming that's what you did, right, Karen? You used the one we had? Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, you'll only ever have to pay for a contract once, and you can use it over and over again. Sounds like we might need to schedule a meeting just on contracts.
I agree, because I mean that was absolutely invaluable what we got out of the pilot project with the contracts.
Absolutely.
All as templates, and before any subcontractor, and it is work. You don't for 1 minute think that flipping is a part-time job. It's not. It is a when I say you can do it while you have another job, but as long as your other job is flexible. But it does take time. Every time you've got a new subby coming on site, you've got to check your paperwork, make sure that the dates are correct, their names are correct, the W-9s, and you get a lot of repeat stuff. So your W-9s, you literally copy and paste all of their information, and every year they have to sign a new one. Insurance is another important thing. So, I mean, Kathy and Chuck taught us pretty much how not to get yourself into trouble by having the right paperwork.
Right. That was pretty invaluable, if I do say so myself.
Mm-hmm. It really was. And I mean, just when we worked on this pilot project, it was a group of 13 of us. And of that, I think 3 or 4 were men and the balance of us were women. And we're all friends, and we'll stay friends forever, because we just, we had fun. Some of us worked together on other projects, and then the men were great. I mean, we had moments, but
yes, we did. You want to call it? But
yeah, what they're talking about right now is now called PrEP, and it's the PrEP rehab, and we will have another one of those coming up in a couple months later on this year. So keep your eye out for that if you're interested.
Yeah, it was a great program. I can highly recommend it if you're looking for something to sort of springboard into your flipping future. It was well worth every cent.
Agreed. Okay, another shameless plug here. I I have to agree. I adored the project. I mean, there were some ups and downs as with any project, which is expected, but for the most part, I took away, it was a lot to take away. And, if you're just getting started, I would recommend that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Kathy, did you want to chime in here?
No, I think I don't have much to add after all that. Yeah, I will say that it was the first one, and there has been greatly revised, which is part of the reason the new one isn't happening for a while, because we as instructors learned so much from the first one that the second one will be so much better, and we're reworking the curriculum, and it's going to be even better. But like I say, it'll be coming up maybe in a couple months. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, Karen, did you have anything else you wanted to close us out with? Or that was a great topic. You showed me some things that I hadn't thought of. So excellent.
That was a gorgeous flip, man. That backyard, that was just great. That was fantastic.
That was fun. Yeah, look, I mean, all I can say, I remember going to a meeting and after I'd actually just finished this first flip, and one of the ladies there said to me, what was it? How did you actually eventually get to do it? And you actually just have to put one foot in front of the other and do it, and stop being afraid of yourself and being afraid of everyone around you and thinking everyone else is doing it better, or just learn as you go along. And if you've got surround yourself with the right amount of people, and if you're all part of TRIA, you have already surrounded yourself with the right people. Just ask, and people help you out. It's an amazing thing. And people are very few people I have found that won't give you the answer to a question. If they don't, just move along and find someone else that will help you.
Well said.
So any of you, including you, Karen and Linda Jordan, and anyone else who is a rehabber, Karen, when you find your next one, if you're interested, let us know. We would love to feature you on our next Unbus tour. We just had one last Saturday. It was 50 people who all drove themselves in groups of 10, socially distanced, rotating to 5 properties within a 10-mile area of Raleigh, and viewed these rehabs. Some were just starting out. One was actually sold, and one was close to being finished. So they were in all different stages. And we will be looking to put together another tour. So if you are even just buying a project or just getting started, get in touch. Crystal Slater will be heading that up. But it was so much fun, and people really want another one. So we will be doing another one soon.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening to me. And I haven't looked at any of the questions, but if there's anything I've missed, are these slides going to be available on if you've attended the meeting?
We didn't hit the record button early on, so if anybody wants to have the slides shared, it's probably best to try to get them from Karen, unless you want to send them to me and I'll have them, or I don't know, whatever y'all want to work out.
I can put my email. Hang on. I'll stick my email in the chat bar, and then you guys can just, if anyone wants, I can just share them. I think that's to everyone. Did I send it? There we go.
Yes, it's there.
There we go. So you can just drop me an email and I'll share my slides with you.
Linda, you're correct. We're recording, but we didn't start it until halfway through, so it won't be complete.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a great day.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Yes. Awesome, Karen. I appreciate this.
You're welcome.
You did awesome as usual.
Were your rehab, were your staging costs in your selling costs?
My staging costs, where did I put them? Yeah, no, my
Maybe they're-
staging costs were in my renovation costs. I put that as one of my renovation costs because it's not a variable. It's something that's always there.
Gotcha. And who do you use?
I use Christine from Professional Home Staging. She's actually one of our sponsors, I believe.
Yes, one of our vendors. Awesome. Okay, cool.
Done and done. There we go.
We all gone?
Oh,
Can
okay,
I
Great.
just say something quickly
sure.
Hang on, we're recording still.
to Miss Audria?
Oh,
Honey, we love you very, very much.